I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask if there's a disclosure of interest. None. I must advise the meeting is being video recorded and live streamed. We have a resolution that has moved and seconded the adoption of the agenda as amended in regarding to reports of municipal officers 6I. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. First item we have is the minutes of the public meeting held on May the 12th. The resolution has been moved and seconded that it be approved as submitted. Were there any errors or omissions? Yes.
There's one thing we need to fix. When you go on page I need to find it. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong meeting.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Sorry. Yeah.
You want to start the meeting over?
Yeah.
Okay, we have the minutes of the public meeting held on May the 12th. It's moved and seconded for approval as submitted. Any errors or omissions? All in favor of the minutes as presented? It's been approved. Any discussion on any items in those minutes? Page 11 to 19. Councillor Viss?
Yes, page 14 on the subdivision application. I went through the last couple of times. I'm wondering if the planning department for the next planning meeting marks with the exact area where we are for rural settlement, and what's the possibility of enlarging that so we don't make decision based that doesn't suit our zoning bylaw. So I thought if we could take a look at that and give us some time to, the reason I'm saying that, Mayor Lucy, is because you see the first one came up to St. Crossroad. My assumption was that we went already up to the new highway. And now I found the one, this other one came in, we're not there. And I thought, oh, and then of course we had the presentation. I thought, why don't we make it easy for ourselves and enlarge the area? And then we wrote in our bylaw, so.
Sure, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our planner is not at the meeting today. She's in the office working hard. So, Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. I did have a comment with regard to the the motorcycle training school. It was mentioned that we should probably have an idea as to when they're going to be operating the school. And following that, I note that the Auto Sport Club also uses that facility. And now whether they sublet from the motorcycle school people or how it works, but I did see their advertising on TV. And I did provide Wayne with a series of dates that they are going to be using that facility. So in speaking with Wayne, that wasn't the club wasn't advised that we would like a copy of the dates that they're being using that facility. So I don't know if there's any more details we could get with regard to the Auto Sport Club or how many other organizations are using that facility as well.
Okay. Yes, did you have anything? Yes.
Yeah, there's two different issues there. The first one is the idea of having a schedule from this group, but that was discussed at the last meeting, and the motorcycle representatives were noted that their schedule is variable. So it's not like the racetrack, it's every Wednesday evening. They set up things kind of almost on an ad hoc basis. They may not have a lot of lead time. So to ask for a calendar, say in January, for what's going on throughout the year, you're not going to get that, something of that nature. So it's not in the bylaw, whereas the racing track, it's in the racing bylaw, what about the schedule. So I think our best way to monitor what they're doing is they do have a website with their events.
Mhm.
And that's what we have there. And then the other element there that Councillor Peacock mentioned, another group advertised to go there. I don't know anything about it. It was actually the first I've heard of this place, the Thunder Bay Auto Sports Club. And the parking lot there that the motorcycle group is on is not a racing track. So what the auto sports people are doing, it could be like a car rally type thing. But right now I don't know. We'll need to follow up and see what is the use going on there with this group.
Okay. Counselor Peacock?
Thank you. And further to Councillor Vissa's comment with regard to the rural settlement area, I did have a question for the planner this morning, but I just wanted to be sure. DiMichelle's application was for a plan of subdivision. It's outside the rural settlement area, so it needs an official plan amendment and a zoning bylaw amendment. And yet the other property north of the highway, it's also outside the rural settlement area, but it was rezoned from rural residential to light industrial. There was no application that had to be made for an official plan amendment. He was allowed 4 severances and a retained parcel. We accept a new road into that property. And for the purpose of the severances, it was for infilling, but that goes against our bylaws. So I just want to be sure that the processes for development are all the same for all developers, that they meet the requirements that are set out for the as laid out in our official plan and zoning bylaw.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Anything else in discussion? Okay, then we have a resolution moved and second to approve the minutes of the council meeting held on May the 12th as amended again. Yes.
Yeah, I can speak to that now. The on page 27 of your package, 27 to 156, you'll see there are 2 resolutions, number 176 on 27, page 27, and then there on the top of page 28, there's resolution 177. Both of those resolutions were done when we came out of the closed. So the amendment will be to take those 2 resolutions and move them to page 34, where you see 16 items from closed session.
Mhm.
So both of those resolutions need to be replaced, taken from where they are and put here, relocated, I should say.
Yeah, just relocated. There, nothing else has changed, just
No,
relocated.
they're just in the wrong order.
Yeah. Okay. So again, those minutes have been moved and seconded and approved as amended. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any items for discussion on those minutes, page 20 to 35? None. All righty. Next, reports of municipal officers. We have a report by our new bylaw enforcement officer for April. We received page 36 and 37. She is here to answer any questions. It's a more detailed report than what we've ever read, so it's very nice to read. Was there any questions that you had in regards to any of that, Councillor Calvert?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Doesn't read to the bottom of the page. Yes, the complainant. Any questions on the report? Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment. Since Jolene has come on, we've had various conversations about this report. And one concern that we've had before is we used to identify addresses. And that's not the appropriate thing to do in a public meeting. So you'll see that the general location, the street is there, but the address where this incident is going on is not. So that's the privacy type thing that we're trying to adhere to, eh?
Any questions on the report or any of the events? None? Did you have anything further to bring to council this day? No? Any questions? The council of our, no? Oh, okay, terrific. Thank you very much. Okay, the next one is the use of force policy number 013801. And it's also the use of force policy has been amended. If you wanted to mention where the amendment was, it was just on a sentence.
Yes, I will. If you go to page 41, you'll see that about the middle of the page, under training and authorization, the second paragraph, the second sentence there says super must. So we need to have, we change that to Superman, put supervisor, the supervisor must.
Okay, so the resolution has been moved and seconded to approve the report as amended. Was there any discussion on it? Any questions? Perhaps you could just give a little bit of a overview of why we're even looking at this for reasoning.
Sure, okay. We have been using to some extent defensive equipment in the past. However, we've never had a policy sanctioning that use of a dog stick or things of that nature. So that's why we want to have a policy in place to say that this is sanctioned by council and it lays out the way it's supposed to operate. If you look at the policy itself, on page 40, what it's talking about there is that this is a health and safety issue. You should have your workers able to deal with dangerous type situations like a large dog wanting to attack them. You need to be able to deal with that. Then you'll see there on page 41, there's 4 basic parts in here that are expanded upon. The scope and limitations, municipal bylaw enforcement officer, only use this type of equipment if you are looking at imminent harm. Defensive safety equipment, a bit of a discussion of what is there. There's not an, it's written so that other types of devices, whatever they may be, could be added. But what we're generally looking at this point is something that it's called a bite stick. And another thing we have that's worn out is a catch pole. And the other part in this the policy, then the training and authorization, people have to know how to use this equipment before they deploy it. And there is some certification required for some of these pieces. So we will make sure we're doing that. The next part there, the use, again, when you're in threatening circumstances, the bylaw enforcement officer has to use their judgment and to use it as a last resort to prevent injury, and that's how we will handle that part. And incident reporting, anytime defensive safety equipment is utilized, it needs to be reported and need to, follow up with it. So, yeah, Jolene, I would like you to talk a bit about some of this defensive safety equipment, such as a bite stick. That's something I never heard of.
So a lot of times they call it an asp as well. And so it's a stick that expands and it's a metal pole and you're able to deploy it, like it'll automatically increase in length and be able to hopefully avoid a dog from biting or being able to stop a dog from biting something else, being able to take their jaws off of it.
And as we saw in our report, 2 dog bites, a person getting bitten and another dog being bitten. So it is an issue.
Yes.
And so.
When that stick, it doesn't have that loop at the end where you can touch them around the neck.
That's the catch pole.
Well, that's. the catch.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's,
Yes, Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Our previous bylaw enforcement officer did not pick up stray dogs. And I think it was the director of operations that picked them up back then and would take them to the pound, but I don't think we have that agreement with the city anymore about picking up stray dogs. So then what happens to the dogs?
The city quit doing it.
Mhm.
So now we're kind of in a pickle when that happens. And we have an occasion in the past taken them to the shelter and talk them into taking a dog that we have to do something with. The local organizations that deal with that. But yeah, it is a difficult situation right now. The city's not doing that for us anymore.
Councillor Viss.
Taking these stray dogs, because you have to have, you know, you catch them, you have to take them somewhere. We don't have a place today where we could take them to, do we?
No, I would not think so, no.
We're hoping to maybe reach out to kennels in the neighborhood to be able to see if they would be willing to, if we ever needed to be able to do that. So I'm hoping to make some contact with them and see if they're willing to and what kind of cost it would incur.
I think that'd be a good.
Yeah.
That say, you know, have them right there.
Yeah,
And they
exactly.
have to have room.
Yes, of course. Yep.
Okay.
At the same time, you could check to be sure they've got their license for the year.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, this, I noticed this policy statement deals mainly with dogs or animals.
Yes.
But there are other safety issues. If there's ever a mention of arms being involved in something, automatically you would contact the police before you go there yourself, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, okay, because it's happened in the city in the past, so,
Oh, yes, yes. And we also have I'm able to use the radio in the truck and it's the same one that operations is on.
oh, okay,
And
good.
so like if I needed to go to a property, I'd let them know I was getting off at that property. So they have at least are able to monitor how long I'm there.
Okay, perfect. Yes, Sean?
I just want to make a note that the fire department's experiencing that same, not necessarily with animals, but potentially violent situations with calls.
With
So-
people?
It's a growing concern. So we do have the same protocol. We just stand back, let the police come in, but it is a growing issue.
Okay, all righty, so we do have this,
I just,
oh. No, we have this resolution for the policy, but we haven't voted on it yet. It's
okay,
been moved and seconded, so all in favor, opposed, carried. Thank you very much. All righty, the next one is the grant notification agreement. We had asked them to do something in regards to giving them two consents, and apparently it has been done. So we have a resolution that's been moved and seconded to prove that the consents can go forward. Any discussion? Councillor Peacock.
Thank you. Just inquiring that perhaps we should also include the zoning bylaw number that was issued pertaining to these consents. And that's back in 2025, so I note that they do have the legal description of the lands and everything, and it does indicate the severance numbers, but I just wondered about the zoning bylaw as well. Because that allowed for those lands to be built on or severed.
Yes,
I don't think that's required. It wasn't proposed in here like it does. This bylaw does say where this is,
mhm,
and the zoning is a part of it, but it's not necessary to have this agreement work. So the other thing I just wanted to mention about this report is that there is an error in the report on page 42. It says in the last paragraph, prospective purchasers of the condominium units, that's not what it's supposed to say. It should say prospective purchasers of the land. Because in this instance, buyers would be getting a parcel from the owner.
it's not a condominium.
Well, it's use an old report to save time, and there's dangers in that. There's another one coming up.
Okay, all righty, so we do have a resolution that's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? This one?
Land instead of condominium.
Yes. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Well,
Yes.
we don't need to amend here, because it's just the report that was wrong, but the agreement itself is okay.
The agreement here, yes, okay. Support CEDC submission to the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, page 47 to 54. We have the resolution. It has been moved and seconded, recommending the issuance of a letter to support the Thunder Bay Community Economic Development Commission's expression of interest to the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program Regional Immigration Initiative. Big breath. Any discussion, Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Noted on page 52, where it says the requirements for the communities to participate in the initiative. It says to report to the Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training, Skills Development on the performance of the initiatives on a regular basis, including but not limited to employer engagement, application intake, newcomer outcomes, labor market settlements of newcomers and their families. Who do we have on staff that can do that?
Yes,
We don't need to do that stuff. That would be the stuff that the CEDC does.
yes, we're just supporting them.
Yeah, they will be I know it mentions communities, but in the email there, it does specify that communities that the down below on page 49, submitting an expression of interest. Interested municipalities in a census division identify a single lead organization to do it. So the CEDC for the Thunder Bay Census Division is going to be taking this on, and they've done this before with the federal rural immigration pilot. I did correspond with the CEO of the CEDC about this, and what they would want us to do when they're looking at an immigrant application is confirm, that there actually is a business. We might be asked to do that. So if somebody puts in that they're going to work at some place here, we just confirm that, yeah, there is such a business or institution or something in the municipality, but we're not doing any of the work. It's CEDC that runs it.
Yeah, they're just asking for our support.
Okay.
Any other questions, conversation? I'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next item is a report in regards to amending the awarding of the crack sealing, and it would be to the Northern Crack Sealers, Inc. Northern, should be an N there, I guess. Crack Sealers, Inc. To the upset limit of $65,000 plus HST. The resolution has been moved and seconded on the report. Any discussion? Councillor Peacock?
So part of it's going to go for the Oliver Road project. Am I correct, Chris?
Through the chair, as the report states, the original work was on Oliver Road before the village of Merlot, and given the prevalence of large cracks that appeared this spring on other roads, we're going to be doing an analysis to see if we can get some more done up to the upset limit.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next item we have is 3 potential municipal drainage studies. And we have a resolution that's been moved and seconded to recommend the issuance of an RFP to undertake a drainage study of Mud Lake Road between John Street and the railway crossing, Calvert Road from Oliver Road to the old Grant Truck driveway easement, and number 3 Berry Drive from Sea Line to east of Mattis Crossing. Any discussions? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. With regard to the Berry Drive and Sea Line, number 4, was that the culvert that we viewed when we went on road inspection and you found another older culvert? I think it was Stamp Papoonge or something that was down further at that corner?
Through the chair, there was a secondary culvert found at that intersection, correct? The one that was stamped Papoonge was over on McCluskey Drive.
On McCluskey.
Okay.
Okay, so it's been
And-
moved. Sorry, you had another
Nope.
question?
Is there something that, like, could this be held off until next year, or you're just looking to have the permission to do a study?
Through the chair, as the report states, this work is end of life on the one area in particular, and there's been some numerous conversations in area 2 and 3 in regards to drainage in the last couple of years that needs to be addressed going forward before the next spring flood.
Okay, Councillor Viss and then
Yeah,
Councillor
just
Calvert.
A couple of questions on that. It's a municipal drainage study. And a municipal drain, if it's requested, normally it is the residents that come forth for the petition to decide they'd like to have the municipal drain, because the cost of that is assessed to their properties.
Mhm.
Now, this is the municipality asking for it, so that means we're gonna cover this cost. And besides that, you have to have permission from all these people to get onto their property. So you're gonna have to have public meetings before we can even get near to doing this, in my look at that. But while I'm at it, okay, Chris, you see, the thing is, I only the north side because I know Berry Drive always washed out, but I'm not very familiar. But Calvert Road especially, because the Calverts, when they used to wash out, and I was the only one on council, I got a lot of calls, and rightfully so. They were all washed out, so there's no doubt. So anyway, I paid a little attention to that. And then if I look, I went there and I look from lot 75 is where the water comes from the west to the east. That's where it creates the problem, and then it goes down that hill, and then it turns again. It goes to the west on what village? On lot 27. Now, a number of years ago, when that first washed really out, I asked if they could look at it, because if they put two culverts at 75 where it comes out, on a 45-degree angle, because the east side of Calvert Road hardly got any water. And I thought if we could take some of that water out of there and flow it down the other side, because if you go past the last one there is a culvert already from the east to the west. That is that ditch that's automatically put in there when they had the two lots. So that would be able to take some of that water. So I just wondered if that's something as simpler to look at. Now, I'm not an engineer, but I'm just asking what I've seen. And as far as the mud lake is concerned, I looked at that, and it flows all the way down till it hits the railroad track, and it doesn't go any further. You look up the railroad track, all the water from the west comes to that corner too. So what we're creating here, we're putting a municipal drain in these areas. You're bringing that all to that one central place, which I would think I call the mud lake is where it's going to go. But I couldn't determine where it goes from there, and Chris may know that. Is that all come out of there and then go through that little creek through the village? And so the more you're going to create, what's going to happen to the village? And I don't know what you can do with it, but just my observation of it when I seen it. So there you go, Chris.
So through the chair, Councilor, this basically verbatim my report. We'll start off by saying we are not implementing a municipal drain. This is not
The drainage study.
the drainage study. As a drainage engineer, I have certain powers that, yes, I can work with vendors to facilitate drainage improvements without going to the Drainage Act. The Drainage Act, if we were to create a municipal drain, would put burden on everybody affected in the area. That is not what this is. This requires some topographical surveying. This requires some data to go forward to fix the problems that recur every year, as the report states.
Mhm.
The end point of where this water all comes to, and specific to 2 and 3, ends up back crossing Mud Lake Road south of Pole Line, or north of Pole Line, where it all ends up.
Yeah, it has to all go that way.
And it doesn't make it all the way from Mud Lake down to the tracks. There's a cross pipe before the last house, the third house on the right, where it crosses over and lines up, as the map shows, lines up to the property lines as shown in drawing number 3. So these failures are ongoing. I've reached the point where I'm not comfortable saying I can put a cross pipe in here without affecting other people's properties. Therefore, I'm not going to do it, because if it fails next spring for a 2-week period, as the report states, then it doesn't help. It's a waste of money. So in my opinion, before we proceed with any other drainage works on these 3 areas, we get the study done, which is a fairly thorough, robust study. It involves a lot of walking. It involves a lot of drone work. It involves a lot of, and it's an engineered report to tell us what we have currently works for only 99% of the time.
Mhm.
Going forward, you need to do this to get it to be 100% reliable.
Oh,
But
sorry.
just further to that, Chris, if you really look at it from lot 75 to lot 27, that means it's the hump. If we could get through the back of that properties and they would allow us to put a water flow through there, would take that water away from coming to the Calvert Road.
Through the chair, that's precisely what we gotta look at it. If there's an opportunity to go along the back of a one property in particular to
Mhm.
divert it south instead of east as it currently goes, we
right.
would save the volume that Calvert Road receives.
Okay.
Okay, Counselor
And-
Calvert?
Speaking of that, yeah. So undoubtedly, all the residents along my road are concerned about this, and they're probably very glad when any of them read it, and I've told a few people about it, since it was public. So they're really glad that something's gonna be actually really looked at, and they're quite happy with this.
Counselor Peacock?
Sorry, Danny, you finished?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If the proposal goes through, will there be an opportunity? There was people who lived on Berry Drive that have a farm that did not get the larger entrance that they had been looking for, that had previously been there. And I'm just wondering if that driveway, I think you're familiar with the person I'm speaking about, would their driveway get the larger culvert then?
Through the chair, their driveway is included in the study area. Whether repairs are warranted after the study is done is yet to be determined.
And would the Hannah Road between Candy and Boundary Drive, would that affect the location of a dry hydrant at all?
Through the chair, they're not related and there's no work proposed on Hannah Road.
Okay.
Any further questions? So I will call a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next item is statement of remuneration and expenses, page 62 to 63. You have any comments or questions or? Yes,
The Committee of Adjustment, it looks like not everybody claimed mileage, that's all. Only one person did by the look of it, but
you don't have to. It's a person, if they don't want
Okay.
to claim the mileage, then they don't claim the
Okay.
mileage. Just as if I have to go to a meeting in town and I'm gonna pick up groceries anyways, why would I claim the mileage? I won't do that. So,
I just wanted to be sure they were aware of it, that's all.
oh, I'm sure they are, yes. Any other questions in regards to the report? No. Okay. The 2026 Ontario Regulation 284-09 Budget Matters. And we're recommending the adoption of the report disclosing impacts of the exclusion of amortization, et cetera, all financial stuff, as required under the Ontario Regulation Budget Matters. Be approved. The resolution has been moved and seconded. It's open for discussion, page 64 to 66. Any discussion?
It's Ontario regulations, so you don't have a
Right.
whole lot of choice.
Okay.
It's an Ontario regulation. We don't have all the-
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
That's right. Any other discussion? Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. So it has. The Roslyn Village Drinking Water System Financial Plan, 2026 to 31, page 67, 79. And the resolution has been moved and seconded to approve the financial plan. So open for discussion, yes.
Well, we also need to amend this because there is an error in it as well.
Okay.
So I will put that down. Councillor Calvert and Councillor Viss, I'll just put down, you're the motioners. I have to make an amendment. I'll tell you what it is.
that's good.
Yeah, I was waiting for what it was.
Yeah, okay, but they are the people who,
Yeah.
yeah, if you go to page 71, there is at the top of the page, the first sentence, municipality contracts water quality services. Well, that's not right. It's got to say Ontario Clean Water Agency. And then below, we have the same issue there, the WQS, right at the bottom of the page. That's got to say
Oh, yeah.
OCWA, Aqua.
Aqua.
So that's the issue there. And thanks to Councillor Peacock who found that because redid the old financial plan and you miss a couple of things, eh?
That's right. Okay, any further discussion or questions in regards to this financial plan? Yes, Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. I just feel that moving forward, I appreciate the opportunity to be heard last budget meeting and have some of the funding for the government funding put over and shared between Public Works and drinking water system. And I think that with the moving forward as far as this financial plan, I think that's something that we should continue to do with at budget time, because it looks like it's going to be an expensive system to maintain.
And Councillor
So-
Calvert?
Thank you, through Chair. We're looking at roughly $125,000 to $130,000 deficit from here. We're going to run at, which will cover through your grant money somewhere.
That's what should be.
What we generally are doing, because we don't have the grant money to cover operating expenses, we're using taxpayer money to subsidize this system. And that says in the report, the number of users that have to triple or the rates triple. That's the situation we're in.
And like, when we were talking with those ministers there, and we said, like, you know, we don't get a lot of grant money for water or wastewater or anything like a lot of municipalities do. And that was kind of our discussions with them at Noma or Roma, whichever we're at.
Roma.
We said, really, we should be entitled to some more grant money. We don't get grant money per se, where a lot of people are getting $20-30 million to their water treatment
Versus-
plants and everything, and we get zero.
Well, we have got money to do capital lately. We replaced all of the water pipes, the water mains, a few years ago and repaid the thing. And we had a grant, was approximately, the budget cost was 900,000.
Yeah.
I recall, so we did get that grant. And then we did apply OCIF money, was it last year?
Yeah.
Or we're doing that this year to cover off some other construction costs. And then way back when, maybe in 2018, we built the above ground reservoir and we had grant money to do that. So we have got some grant money for the capital costs, but the issue really is that we don't have any money for the operating costs. We don't have enough users on there to pay for the operating. That's the key.
Yeah, it's a catch-22 either way. But my point was, like, a lot of municipalities get a lot more money
you're-
because they have water systems and all that. That's their prerogative.
Yes, you're right about that. Not too long ago, you know, we did get some money, but we could have got more.
Mhm.
Because not too long ago, we applied to try to get, we had to mix it in with having to, an apartment type development at the end of Alder, that we own those lots. We applied for that and we wanted to have the water plant included in it. But we were unsuccessful, and I recall the comments of the funding raters saying, well, you didn't have a critical health and safety issue. And I thought, what do you mean? Our thing was based on, we had arsenic in the water. We got a drinking water advisory because we got arsenic in the water, but they overlooked that. And I think the reason probably is because our housing development was not shovel ready, and we've had these kinds of discussions before. We're not going to be spending $50,000 or whatever it is to do a septic system study and do surveying and all that type of thing when we don't have any, we're not assured of getting any money. So that was the problem with the Alder development proposal that we had put in as well.
This?
A couple of years back, maybe more than that, we had a reference to what the cost was in Whitewater versus the cost in Roslyn. I'm wondering if we can get an update on that at all, just for our own sake here and for the new council, especially as they set. Maybe we're close and maybe we're not anywhere near. So you'll have some kind of a reference, say, well, look, it's costing those folks in our municipality, that's water supplied by someone, as is the Roslyn system. So I think that might be a help for all of us if we could get some kind of a reference, see where we're at.
We had some information like that come forward before,
Yeah.
but our system right now, the $155 is, it sounds awful, but there are other small water systems in Ontario. I think some minister told someone that it's $400 a month. Yeah. Councillor Calvert learned that at the Roma conference, I believe, $400 a month in
Just for water.
in a rural community in South Ontario. The rates in Northwestern Ontario are, when you're on the communal water and there's a lot of users, it's cheaper, eh? Because all that overhead, you got more users to spread your costs out on. But when you got a rinky-dink system with not too many users, and then you still got to follow all the same regulations, you got to filter out arsenic, all that kind of stuff. Well, the costs balloon and you end up in the pickle that we are in.
You're right.
I think at that time, one of our counselors was living in the,
Yes, she was.
and she had requested it. And if I'm not wrong, that was a few years ago,
Mhm.
the rates were pretty close
Okay.
between Roslyn and the other subdivision. So we said we're not off by charging what we are charging right now.
Yeah, I remember.
That was then,
something there,
yeah.
Lucy, yes.
Yeah,
You're
that
right.
you had asked for it. Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. What's the status of the water system as far as people using the meters and having them read? If we use the meters, then will the revenue potentially go down because they're not using as much water as they're being charged for, or
I don't know.
what's the status of that?
Yes.
Well, Director of Operations, like.
Through the chair, since the meters have been installed, we've been doing monthly. We have that data. Of the 32 users, 9 will get less. 17 will hit the average, and the remainder are gonna get a bigger bill.
Okay.
It's based
Lynn-
on your individual usage.
Yes,
We've
you
got
lend
two,
to
we've got-
conservation of water.
We have 2 years of data to prove that.
Mhm.
Yeah, setting water rates and actually billing for what's consumed is always a game you cannot match up. So at the end of each year, you need to take any surplus or deficit you had from the year before and take it into account in setting rates in the future. I'm just speaking to what Councillor Peacock was mentioning. If we set the meter rate at, whatever it is, $10 for a cubic meter of water, and that's based though on X amount of cubic meters. If we had 90% of X in consumption, then we will have build more than we need, so then we would have a surplus. So there's always what you bill based on a rate and what the actual consumption is are two different things, and you're always having to look at when you set rates for the future, how did you do in previous years? It's similar to when we think about our taxes, right? People think, okay, if MPAC comes in here and does the reassessment that hasn't been done since 2016, everybody's taxes are going to skyrocket. But no, they won't. We'll cut the rate.
That's right.
Cut the
So
levy.
the treasurer wanted to mention something.
Yeah, the other thing too, if we do go to meter billing, when you set water rates, there's 2 components. There's a fixed component and a variable component based on consumption. If you look at the expenses laid out here in the financial plan, the majority of the costs are fixed, and they would be at a fixed monthly rate anyway. So the variable component of the water bill would be pretty small. I don't have the data for the difference in use between the high and the low, but based on the fact that the majority of the costs are fixed, the actual monthly billing between the high and low would be pretty small, I would think.
And if I may, and I think that's a real good thing, because you see the variable could be is these people watering their lawns, and they say, well, wait a minute, so they cut water. We have that cost is there, so you can't change. So I'm glad that set amount is there, because at least that's easier for the staff to control them. So yeah, that's a real good thing. Thank you for that, John.
Councillor Peacock?
Sorry, just one further question. with regard to the, there was going to be a system on the, whether it's at the pump house where people could fill their,
Yes.
is that water cubes or is it water bottles or what's the status there and how would they be charged for that?
We have a-
Through the chair, we're still working on that.
Okay.
Anything else? No. So we have the resolution moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next item is budget variance reports as of March 31st. We have it under separate cover. And not quite sure if you want to go through it page by page or. Yes.
Well, Mayor Luciano, I'll start. It's very nice that you got all those reports, but you'll have them anyway. The problem is, you see, when you first quarter especially, like some have been done, some have not been done. And so you're over a little bit unless you want to pick exactly one line after another. Like it looks on the average, we're running where we should be. So why am I going to spend line by line? I'm sorry, I did not do that because I said it's
I
way
never
too
do
early.
that.
Okay, that's just my take.
Yeah, no, you look at, if this is the first quarter, you would say that maximum of 25% of your budget would be spent. But sometimes a lot of things happen in the first quarter that don't later on, so
That's correct.
you have to judge. And sometimes nothing is spent the first 3 months, but it's all spent in the middle of the year. So I'm satisfied, and thank you for the report, but I'm satisfied with what the managers have done. Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. I did go through it line by line.
I knew that.
And I just had a couple of questions for the Director of Operations. With regard to the salt, is that stockpile for the upcoming winter, or is that an emergency that we needed to get more salt for it halfway through the first quarter?
We had a bad winter.
Through the chair, we have enough to do half of our salt sand in August. So it's an accrued cost. We needed it to get through the spring. But whatever is left over will get used, and that's an anomaly because it's spread between 2 calendar years. So you're paying the piper for fall of 25 as well.
And the other question I had was, it's in capital and it is the pole line road. Is that an expense from previous year that is now in this year? It's the railway crossing pole line road.
Railway crossing.
Pages aren't numbered. But anyways, it's the last page of roads capital.
It was an invoice that we received from the railway company for prior year work. They had not invoiced this for.
Okay, thank you.
Any other items? No? Okay. Next item we have is reports of committees, which is the DSAB board, and both of them are reports from the DSAB board for your information. And we have the following bylaws for approval. The authorization notification agreement with GRAN. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then the bylaw use of force policy 013801. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now. My goodness. I know we have a few petitions and communication action items here, but before that, I just wanted to ask, the fire department is in the room. I know you didn't have a report this month, but this meeting, but I just wondered if it's anything you wanted brought up to council.
I don't think so at this time. There will be a report coming. The new mutual aid plan is out, so there will be a report at the end of June
Okay,
for that plan, just so you know, and deputy chiefs are in position and starting to do things. And the next phase will be starting here, hopefully early June.
good, terrific. Thank you. Yes, Ken,
Just
had a
one
question?
question, where's Shabana on that? Are they up and running yet at all? Are they doing there, or are you still bailing them out on the highway?
They are not up and running, although I've heard some conflicting reports, and I have on my to-do list to send an email to say, where are you at?
Right.
Last week, we had 2 calls for service. You probably heard there was 2 bad
Yes.
accidents. One, we got on scene and had to do some work. The second one, we got canceled before we got there. But yeah, there's really no change in that, but it's on my radar to get some follow-up.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. Any other questions? No? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. I was going to ask you this later on, but I'll ask you now. With regard to Voyant Alert, previously you had mentioned that it was only you or the clerk that had access and possibly administration had access to issue a Voyant Alert notice. And I'm just wondering if the deputy chiefs will be brought on board to indicate how that happens, if they're going to be taking your place in your absence.
So there's 4 people currently that can issue alerts, and our current agreement allows for 5. So myself, fire clerk, Christina, and Indy are administrators that can put alerts out. And yes, the plan is to have one of the deputies as another alert issuer.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, I just heard on the radio this morning, Kenor's gone in with the Voyant Alert. And the one that they interviewed was one of our former firefighters. So,
That's true.
yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Here are the petitions and communications. The opposition to the changes of the FIPPA, reinstating compliances with the FIPPA. Just stop me at any time if something interests you. Integrated living and participation model for adults with developmental disabilities. Amend Ontario's Land Transfer Act, Tax Act, Ontario Heritage Organization Development Grant Advocacy, Better Regional Governments Act for 2026, a call for repeal of provisions regarding FOI in Bill 97, Plan to Protect Ontario Act, insurance for owners of properties designated under the Ontario Heritage Act, vacant commercial storefront tax, Ottawa Valley Trade Corridor Improvement Project, Conservation Authority consolidation and future funding, Heritage Helping Housing Building Grant. Oops, can't believe it. That's it for now. That's a long list. And then petitions and communications for information only is the Ministry of Emergency Preparedness and Response, the Northern Leaders and Industry call for coordinated investment in Highway 11 and 17. Oops, hand up.
That one before there, and you see a nice picture of Sean in here. On the-
Oh, on that report?
Our fire chief.
Yes.
I'd just like to comment a bit on that, that we did get a request to provide a quotation. And Sean put the effort in to do something, and they used it. So the ministry, they're always appreciative when you give them a stroke, and we did that. And I believe the photo of Sean that I saw was heavily photoshopped.
That's not nice.
That's,
Thank you. I missed that.
Quite a few years ago, because no glasses, you see?
Don't know where the picture came from, but
Oh,
had it
sure.
from somewhere.
From somewhere. Okay.
Took you that long to do that?
All right. Okay, of course, this one is the Northern Leaders and Industry call for a coordinated investment in highways 11 and 17. I'm glad it's moving that way. The federal and provincial government should be working together on these main highways. Then the shift for May 2026 and the 2026 Northern Ontario Tourism Social Media Campaign and the EAO, yes.
I just wanted to comment about that. D there on page 8 of 156, the Northern Ontario Tourism Social Media Campaign. That did go to the museum board, and we participated. There were some videos that the OPHP had, and some professional photos from that were there. So they passed them along, and so we should be involved in that campaign.
Okay, and the EMPCA compliance results. And the minister's direction under section 1.1.14 of the Conservation Authorities Act. And NOMA and Phenom Welcome Auditor General Report. Lots of good reading. Councillor Calvert, any new business?
had some concerns actually over at the Morello in the recreation area about some young people on their motorbikes. There's a hill there that they keep wanting to fly up and over, and they've been there a couple times during the ball and they've been discouraged, and I wonder if there's anything that could be done to that area through the Public Works to sort of negate this.
Okay. Public Works will be looking
Yeah.
at it. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Councillor Viss?
Yeah, just one question, and that relates to, I left out a message. Did you get that, Chris, that metal on that dugout was flipping up in the wind? Okay, it needed some screws, and I thought before the wind really gets it, then it's gone. So it's looked after? Thank you.
Anything? That's all? Okay, and Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Just to follow up from the previous meeting, thanks to Public Works for patching up on Town Line, as I had mentioned last time around. Free dump days and neighborhood spring cleanup. How did we fare with those? Did you see an increase, or did the attendants see an increase in the landfill usage?
Through the chair, we had an increase in traffic, probably about 40% more than a Saturday for 3 consecutive days, and everybody had a trailer.
Yeah. I noticed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And half loads, are they off now?
They were gone a week and a half ago.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else?
Nope, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. Yes,
I had a couple,
you have
I have
to
a
go.
couple things
You're
to
not
mention.
allowed.
Oh, okay, I'll forget it. I just wanted to mention that the police, we have a liaison committee, and as a follow-up to that, they made a couple of comments about the Morello office. And one in particular was they'd like to, they're concerned about the overgrown pine growing in the front of the Morello Hall. You think about the west front of the Morello Hall, there's, I guess that the Mugo pine, I think they call it, those pine shrubs growing in there. And their concern is, people being hiding in there, et cetera. So I did have a talk with the director of operations about it, and so we're going to be doing that. Take those out of there. It's the building, the pine, the pine shrubs, and replace it with stone or something or other. And the police, those things they notice where there could be someone lurking, waiting to do something. So we'll be taking care of that. The other thing I wanted to mention is yesterday the Ontario Legislature passed Bill 9. That's the Municipal Accountability Act. So I just wanted to note that that's the changes the province has made. They're going to be having we had a report about it not too long ago. I think it was 2025 when it was all going on, or late. There will be working toward a standard municipal code of conduct for council members across the province. And they're going to be providing more powers to the integrity commissioners to investigate matters. They will be creating an office of the provincial municipal integrity commissioner to oversee how it all runs. And then the part that was controversial, that there was a lot of press about, and it was in our report we had, is about removal of penalties, in particular removal of council members who have done certain things. And some parties wanted that left to judges, but the government put it on the hands of councils. So if the local integrity commissioner and the provincial integrity commissioner look at a case and decide that the council member in question should be removed, you'd need a unanimous vote of the council to eject them from the seat. So that's what they have done. It's got passed yesterday. And what the AMO wanted, for example, was if the integrity commissioners come up with a report like that, it should go to a judge. And, rather than having councils having to deal with something like that. But anyways, the thing passed 110 votes to 1. So it was you know, something that was seen necessary. In some jurisdictions, you may hear in the media, there have been some council members doing some outrageous things and they're trying to, you know, control that.
Counselor Calvert?
And AMO, they commented on that and they approved of what was put forward with that bill. They, even the president of AMO, she said they're looking, it's a good thing.
Okay. We now have, treasurer, no, he gave us his report already. and We said, thank you very much. Looks good.
Question?
There, so there's no questions required. Okay, so we have a resolution moved and seconded to resolve into closed session, the time being 10:01 a.m. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We'll now have a 5-minute break. Thank you.
Coffee time.
Okay, we have a resolution moved and seconded to reconvene the council meeting, the time being 11:17 a.m. All in favor? Opposed, carried. We have a resolution that's been moved and seconded to approve the closed session meeting minutes of May 12th, 2026. Been moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed, carried. And then we have a resolution confirming resolutions and confirming a meeting of the today. It's been moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed, carried. And now we have a resolution that's been moved and seconded to adjourn our meeting by being 11:17 and 3:40. No, it's not at 18 a.m. All in favor? Opposed, carried. Thank you.